Sorry about that. My broadcast software crashed. I'm gonna have to do something about that. I'm not sure why it keeps crashing out. Um, the web browser just crashed out too. Cool. Let's see if we can get it back up. Restore. Guess I'm asking too much of this computer, I guess. Yeah, so that was Tesla and Netflix. So I could pull gainers, things moving up $2 or more in the pre-market. Look at Korea go. Been talking about how this was an opportunity. EWY. And we're coming on up for that 150 target up here. Now, if we get above that, it could go on up to 240. And the big reason for all of this, people are kind of left in the dark a little bit about why Korea. Has to do with Samsung and SK Hynix here. They are big memory producers, as in RAM producers. And Micron said they're not going to make RAM anymore. For years, pretty much all the RAM I've ever bought has SK Hynix written on it, or Hynix written on it, and Samsung another one there. So they're kind of riding the catbird seat as far as this AI revolution where RAM is in a shortage. They can kind of, when demand is high, supply is constrained with how much you can make, prices go up, profits go up. So Korea ETF in prime position to take advantage of that. So KRLU is a 3x bullish leverage on that and set to keep climbing. Pointed this out when we broke out back here at the 100 area. If you jumped on it, you're like up 5x. Keys, key site popping. Let's get a little over the skis there. I'd be careful. PVLA, that's already at the target. There's the high, there was the low, popped up to the target. Can come on up to 150 maybe. Into it. And hopefully everybody still here. This is like 15 people on the stream. Maybe that's working. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm here, maybe I'm not. Let's check on it, double check on it in a different way here. And it appears that we flipped to a different. Yeah, there we go. Looks like we just flipped to a new stream. That's cool. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. This thing's being stupid. Anyway, 5 p.m. today, I'll be live for 30 minutes of awesome. Hopefully we'll have a better day. I guess set some setups for this thing crashes out again or something stupid. So you have to replace this computer. That, looking for $4. It's low price stuff. I wouldn't touch it. And EYPT. That last one worked out really well. High points. Here's the high. Here's the low. 20 on the upside. Neo. I don't like that. There's the pattern. Entry, $6. Low price. Be careful. And this one's also low price with a $10 upside there on VNDA. Not a big fan of that one either. Pharmaceutical, biotech. Be careful. And I guess let's cover the SPY and QQQ, and then we can wrap this baby up. Choo 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 choo. see what we got on the gamma charts. See if that's firmed up at all in the last 30 minutes. I wanted to show off a cool thing too. So I added this new feature yesterday. Maybe later. This right here shows the flow. So you kind of see we're at 61 million calls, 52 million puts for the day. I think it's beneficial. Kind of helps show what's cooking, what's not cooking. And then they've got these volume spikes that are interesting too. As the day goes on, you can find stuff like, look at that, URA 60 call, 3,000%. 3,000%, not huge, but, and you can click in here and check it out. And it's a very handy tool. You can see that that's not all that unusual for, you know, the significant score here. It tells you how unusual it is that URA gets a big block or a sweep order like this. And it's not very unusual. Now, there were a couple on here yesterday that were highly unusual. So it's something to keep an eye on if you have bullflow.io. This right here, the market flow, it's kind of, how does the, you know, I talk about, you know, 90% of everything goes the way the market flows. So if you have the tide floating the boats, you can look at all trades, or you can look at only sweeps and see how the sweeps are going. You can see sweeps kind of bullish. So big orders going higher. All trades. So you got small players being a little more bearish, but the sweeps are pulling it up. Just kind of interesting. Right now, Tesla rocking the calls, $42 million. SLV. I told you, people are going to get sucked into SLV and then get ripped. You got SPX, 34 million playing long, 78 million playing short. Although that's just puts being bought or sold. You don't know if it's actually bought puts or sold puts. So be careful out there. Looking back at the gamma for the day. Kind of try to pick a range. And there's no real bubble. Well, that's frustrating. So we're going to have to go with like something like 678, 690, 690, 678, which is basically right where we were. And then that's where the levels go. Yeah, this is really skewed up on the, look at that. Look at all those put players out there. Holy moly. There's a lot of puts, but they're spread out. They're not just concentrated on today. There's a lot of puts for today. So if there's a bunch of puts for the day, that means that we probably, well, that was yesterday. That's the 23rd. 24th, got a few calls. Actually, I got more call players today. So we may hang it around 684. Which, funny enough, that's right where we are. That may be where we hang out all day on SPY. Given any kind of, I mean, with the absence of any kind of market shaking, altering catalyst, market at balance is probably kind of hangouts. QQQ. Looking at the flow here. 24th. Calls slightly skewed higher. Then we have these big put levels hanging out here. So screw the calls today. Probably somewhere around 603 for the level. It's kind of right where we're hanging out. And then the heat map. This one has more of a bubble shaped up. The bottom of the bubble down here at 599. Top of the bubble up here at 611. So it's possible it gets out of the bubble, but I don't really expect it. And that's kind of what we got shaped up. Gamma wise here at 10 o'clock. Like I said, it ever evolves and changes. That 600 level sitting down there with 300 million. It's interesting. But more interesting is the SPY level. Sitting out there with $1 billion, 675. $1 billion of market exposure. Like, so that means market makers have $1 billion worth of exposure if the market drops below that. For every dollar we go below that, it's $1 billion worth of market exposure. So staying above that, or even coming down to visit it, zero out a bunch of options and then go higher, is kind of the way it usually happens. And it's negative too, so that means it's mostly puts. And below price also indicates it's mostly puts. And when we get the big level above us, that's usually calls. So this will be interesting, I guess. We'll see what happens. Be safe out there. Be back live 5 p.m. I'll be back live at Market Masters at 11:30. Links in the description.